Welcome to the Nemesis Reborn VIP event. I've been here all day using the fast track and now checked in, got this guy. There's an itinerary, we get to see John Wardley, John Burton, Bianca. We get to see behind the scenes and stuff. They did say we can film most of this, but there's bits we might not be allowed to, so I'll film as much as I can and I'll try and describe the bits I couldn't film. Excited for this one. I kind of feel sorry for those three over there. They got a lot of hands to shake and a lot of photos to take. I can see why we've got 2 hours in here. Probably just taking photos.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Nemesis 30th anniversary, very first VIP experience. Are you excited? Okay, so are we ready? Health and safety's done. We good? Yeah. Okay, one last thing. You're all pretty avid content creators in this room, am I right?
Hey!
Okay, so here's the good bit. No photos or videos throughout the session. We're about to open up the archives for you. You're about to see some images that you haven't seen before. We want that to be really special for you. We have 2 events and we're also showcasing these at the second event as well. So sit back, put your phones away, have a break from the screen. So yeah, please, no photos and videos. But when you do go over to the attraction for the Back of House tour, you can photo and film everything that you see over there, back of house, and where we take you. So, is that okay?
Well, that bit was fantastic. I can't share it with you. They asked us not to film, as you saw at the end there. And for very good reason. There's a lot of stories in there that they've never shared before. And there is another event following, so they obviously don't want to spoil that for everybody. But spectacular. Just genuinely amazing. The 3 of them are just... The park's in very safe hands, that's one thing I will say. They sort of teased about the fact we know about Project Ocean, although they didn't tell us anything we don't know. But now we get to do a kind of signing, and then we get to go behind the scenes and see bits of the ride that we don't normally get to see. So still lots of fun stuff to come up. But yeah, if they open this up for any more events, and you've not been to either of these ones, then absolutely get there because it is fantastic. Absolutely cannot recommend it enough. Oh, that was good. Massive, massive, massive long queue to get stuff signed. Got a photo, got the thingy signed, which is fantastic. They must be exhausted. I did say to them, so we'll be here next year for Repsol Returns, and John Burton and Bianca looked at each other and just went, "What are you talking about?" Which is, she did say during that it was, there are documents out, and I think it's interesting looking back at the Nemesis original. You know, planning permission wasn't online, so people couldn't quite find this stuff out like they can now. Tons of good stories in there. They also had a prize giveaway, so we've all got numbers. It was kind of like a lottery. They had sets of AirPods that were Nemesis branded, which obviously you cannot buy, and a few other experiences. So honestly, so far, absolutely loving the event. We've still got to go over to Nemesis and see behind the scenes. They said it would finish about 8. It's 20 to 8, so I think they were optimistic. But yeah, fantastic. If they offer more dates and you've not been, I've said it already, just come. It is amazing. So anyway, my legs are killing me and we still need to go over to Nemesis, so I'll see you over there.
So, welcome to the behind the scenes tour of the legendary Nemesis Reborn ride. My name is Simon Horsley and I am the Head of Entertainment Technical Development, Design and Operations here at the resort. And this is John Wardley, who is our Systems and Show Control Engineer. Between myself and John, we designed, commissioned and programmed the audio-visual systems for Nemesis Reborn and the wider Forbidden Valley areas. So we'd like to take a few minutes before you actually move around to the ride itself, just to talk to you in a bit more detail about some of the AV elements and that kind of thing. So what is AV, or audio visual, from our perspective? So it can be things like the themed lighting on top of the retail outlet there. It can be video screen here. It can be the pneumatic effects around the eye, smoke machines in the tunnels, all those kind of things. The background audio that you can hear in the queue line and around us here. So that's what we term audio visual, along with the show control system that ties all of those elements together and synchronises them perfectly every single ride cycle. Design for these elements takes quite a few months to do, so we actually started talking about things like the eye in 2022. And once we designed those, it then took 5 months to install them on site here with teams of electricians, audio-visual specialists, pulling cables in, connecting fixtures up, and then commissioning the whole system.
So to tie all the AV stuff together, we use a centralised Ethernet network-based show control system for this ride and for the whole of the Forbidden Valley area. And actually where we're standing now, there's thousands of metres of ducting and cable buried under the ground, with control, power, signal cable, fibre optics spanning the whole of Forbidden Valley. And you might spot various manholes. There's one here, there's some underway or standing, and that's where all the cables and ducts intersect.
That really does span the whole of Forbidden Valley, so it goes right to the helicopter at the top, to the retail outlet, all the way around the queue line, everywhere. There's cables buried in the ground everywhere. So moving on to the eye itself, as you've probably noticed, it's not actually a real eye. However, it is a giant video screen, and it's a custom curved half hemisphere video screen bespoke to us, so there isn't another one of that size or design anywhere in the world. This is unique to us. And the resolution of that video screen is 1068 by 1068 pixels. So that makes 1,140,624 individual pixels in total. This is actually a video panel from an alternative LED screen. It's not from this one, but it's from a similar one. And basically you can see the individual LEDs here arranged in pixel format. So there are 1 million of those. And what we can do, each individual pixel, we can change the colour of that pixel individually from all of the rest. And that's how we create the image on the screen, by individually changing every single pixel, the colour on it. It refreshes at 60 times every single second, so that image that you're seeing now is actually refreshing the colours on those pixels 60 times every second, which is quicker than the human eye can register. And what that means is it just seems as a smooth transition of the pixels, and the eye opens and closes and moves around.
So the eye actually has 3 states. It's got a dormant state, a waking up state, and the angry state as the train passes directly overhead it. And the waking up and angry sequences are triggered from the ride control system when the train is dispatched. And then this sends a signal to our show controller, which then sends commands in turn to the video playback system, smoke machines, the audio, the animated claws around the eye itself. The claws all have pneumatic actuators in them, which just like this one Simon has. The ones in these claws are actually bigger than that one. And when these work on compressed air, so when air is forced into one end, it pushes the ram out, and then when it's forced in the other end, it pushes the ram back in again. And these are then controlled centrally from our show control system. We also have an industrial high output powered smoke machine, which is hidden in the top of the eye, and the smoke from that passes through a compressed air system to really force the smoke into the oncoming train. The audio is then synchronised at the same time to make the creature roar, and we have a large subwoofer and a couple of speakers in the bottom there to really make the creature come alive.
I say that's pretty cool. The eye that was in the marketing just before they announced the opening day they brought it out for us. So there's a giant inflatable Nemesis eye.
I'm the gobbiest one on the team, that's why I decided to lead a microphone today. But essentially, my name is John Burton, I'm head of PR here at Alton Towers. They've asked me to give you a bit of a talk about our monstrous eye that you see up on the hill. This eye was actually the one that was used in the PR stunt back in February to announce the opening of the ride. It's 7 metres in diameter and it was actually created by a lantern company in China. We worked with the Chinese lantern company so we could internally light it and externally light it, but give us everything that we need, which included buoyancy in the air. We actually worked with 2 4-metre prototypes as well, and that allowed us to really test the shape of what it would look like on camera, as well as get the Pantone colours right. So the Pantone colours that you see on it, the colour that you see in the eye, is directly taken from John Burton's theme boot, which he showed you previously in his talk. It wasn't the easiest of PR stunts to do, it was fraught with risk, as they always are, but we were really pleased with this. We chose Cannock Chase, but we did actually consider 25 other locations, well more than 25, and they weren't just all on land. We actually looked at locations in the sky, but also underground in caves. We landed on Cannock Chase because, for those that don't know, it's synonymous with like weird goings on and alien sightings, and it just felt like the perfect place Nemesis would reappear to seek vengeance. So that became our chosen location. The team at Cannock Chase were phenomenal, and we worked with the Forestry Commission to be able to do it and be sensitive to the surroundings. Cannock Chase is a natural beauty hotspot, but it's also famous for its wildlife. And at 4 AM, when something giant appeared, the stags and the deers were very, very interested. But we were able to work with them to understand what we could do and how we could do it, and we were able to pull it off. It took a team of 14 around 4 to 5 hours to get the shots that you saw in the video in the media. And the guy that shot it, David Parry, is an amazing photographer, and he was actually the guy that shot the Doll's House in London the years before to announce the curse of Alton Manor. So yeah, his way to go on. He really dedicated himself to the cause at 4 AM in the morning, and he photographed it on land, up on hills, but also donned his waders and got into the water at Cannock Chase to get us the perfect shot. The reason we didn't let the eye go into the sky was because we've soon realised that once it's in the sky, we can't actually tell how big it is. So we used helium to elevate it slightly, and then used a model dog walker so you could see and have a point of difference. You could see actually how big and how enormous this eye was. But yeah, it was a huge success for us. It achieved over 300 pieces of coverage. If you add up the readership of all their media outlets and their visitors, it's the equivalent of every single person in the UK seeing it 13 times. So it's hugely successful for us, and we're really proud of it. You probably won't see the eye again. This is quite a unique thing for us. It has not been inflated since the stunt. It's really susceptible to weather conditions, most notably wind. So on the day of the stunt, I think we had like a 27-mile-an-hour cut-off for the wind, and we were averaging like 22, 24. So it very, very nearly didn't happen. It was a huge risk. Today it's filled with air. It isn't elevated, so it's a bit better with the weather conditions. But yeah, it has to be very, very specific. So yeah, it can't stay outside for a huge amount of time. So it's not like we'd probably ever put it on park. So yeah, we brought it out for you guys today. You're the first to see it. We may be the last, depending on the weather, but who knows?
It's very quiet in here, it's kind of unusual. There's no people, well there's people, but I've never seen it so quiet. Is he a smooth operator? Is he a smooth operator? And start again.
Yes. He is a smooth operator. Let's move on. Only question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And third.
Hi guys, welcome to the lift. So I'm one of the ride-ups here, so does anybody have any questions, or do you want me to just spew out loads of facts before you go speak to John about the operator's calendar?
Loads of facts.
Oh god. Okay, first fact is I don't know how many steps there are because I lose count every time I go up there. And then by the time I get down, I'm absolutely knackered and I just want to go to sleep. Does anyone actually know what those silver platforms are up there for?
For evacuation.
Yeah, so we use these for ride evacuations, specifically when it's stopped on the lift. So we don't want it doing that. So it's a very last resort, that is, but it's quite simple. So we'll hook them onto the bars that go underneath each row. So when you go into the garage, have a quick look underneath each row. You'll see a bar goes all the way across. On the platforms there at the bottom, you can see you've got little hooks. It goes onto those bars, put the pin across, lock it in place, and it sits horizontally. Easiest lift evac you can think of. Does anybody know about the lift speeds? Has anyone noticed that? Very now. Yes. So has anyone actually been on the ride today?
No, so it's broken.
Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Yeah, so before it used to be the lift was on, it was running, or it wasn't on and it stopped. Nowadays, what it does is you can have one train going up the lift and then have another one in the brake run. If it's not cleared certain proxies down the brake run, it will slow it down now, similar to how Galactica does it. Does anyone know about Galactica's lift at all? No? Okay, no choice. So basically it will slow it down, it won't stop it, it will slow it down, and then it will keep going once it's cleared a certain point. If it hasn't, it stops it, and then you get the horrible thud. And it shakes the entire station. Does anyone know about what's right above your head?
Break the friction to...
Almost. So these are the feeder wheels.
Yeah.
Basically we've got these dotted around any section of horizontal track, and that will move the train along, or it will slow it down or bring it to a stop. Thank you. Quite literally. Yeah, so you'll have all of these. You've got them going down the brake run in the transfer section that moves it in between the garage and the main track, in the station and out here. If we don't have these, the train just will not go out anywhere. So that's the purpose of them. Sometimes if the train isn't fully engaged onto the lifts, we have to jog these, like we did earlier. So it will jog the train fully onto the lift, so it engages, and it will sit then back on the anti-rollback teeth, and then we can start the lift up.
As soon as I lift this, the manual release rods will come up, and that will release each seat on the road. So that's what. This is the operator's panel. It's where I've been sat since 9 o'clock this morning. This tells me everything I need to know about the operations running of the ride. This will tell me anything that's wrong with it. It will tell me the speed, the harness, the sensors. This connects to a computer system downstairs. When I say computers, I don't mean sort of a tap keyboard. It's a massive block of cabinets with breakers, switches, circuitries. They all talk to each other. Tells me the positions of the train, the speed of the trains, that every sensor is where it should be. All the brake fins, it counts them as it comes in, make sure everything is correct. And if anything sort of flags that it's not, then tech will have to come, it'll throw up an error, and tech will have to come to and take a look at that. But feel free to come and have a look at the panel, take some photos, you can take some photos from the outside, and ask any questions about the operations or the panel or anything you want to know. So you see the black switch with the white bit at the bottom? Yeah. That closes and locks all the gates on the halfway platform. The two green dispatch buttons, they send the ride out. The orange button is the restraints button, and then there's something called HMI enable. So that I have to press that button to press any action on the screen. So anything I press on the screen that does a function, so open the harness is closed, I have to press that button as well just to make sure that I don't telephone the screen or press anything that I don't actually want to happen. So it's just like a double check. I want to press this button, I'll press that, and that will unlock the harnesses if I need to. 2 rows at a time. So you've got your bars here, they're platens. when they're raised, it'll take the pressures off something called the actuator, which will raise to lower the harnesses, and then when they drop back down, they'll release the harnesses back up. They unlock in pairs, so if you ever see a house sort of then going 1, 2, or 3, 4, they want a row unlock in, so someone can put a bang on or something. But yeah, anything you need to... Any questions?
This is very cool. Now we're in the maintenance shed to see all the behind the scenes. So far it's been absolutely fantastic. Like the ride ops are telling us stories. Everybody's just so friendly. Like they really are just going to town, sharing everything with us. Which yeah, I really appreciate that. You know, it does make you feel like it's a VIP experience. It's not just, you know, and the fact they're only doing this I think they're doing another one in June. Like it's not something that runs every week or every month. So, you know, it's a really special thing. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. Definitely running over because they said finished about 8 and it's nearly 9. I've still got an hour to get to my hotel. And then I'm doing Blackpool tomorrow. So one interesting thing that Andy pointed out off camera was that this is not a circular track. In fact, it's square, and if you look at the train, there's extra little wheels. So they're basically taking the pressure off the main wheels, and they can maintain them and look at them and inspect them. But little details like that, I think Jack Silverstone said the same thing about Hyperia's train. You know, it's just when it goes in the maintenance shed, not actually sitting on those running wheels, it stops them deforming, but it also means they can get in and maintain them. Geeky details, huh?
I presume they're new, even with that console on.
Yeah, so the new with that, because that matches the profile of the track, you just have to keep the wheel in line and wear from an even point down for a centre line of the bearing. Like I say, the difference being that these are softer. These are a softer wheel to these are much harder. And what that means is these run a lot quicker than these slow it down, they speed it up. So on top of the chain we have a mixture of both hard and soft to get that speed just right.
How often do you need to replace the wheels?
These are good for every like 2 to 3 seasons. As long as what we'll find is it's not the rubber that tends to give up, it will be the bearing that collapses before the rubber. Most times, not always. There are the odd one that might de-lam, especially on these. It starts to de-lam here, but most of the time it's the bearings that give up or become too rocky on the shaft. So that's why we have to change it.
Is that something you change during operating hours? Or is that
we can do. So our engineering team started at like 6 in the morning, so long before the park opens. We're coming around doing our PPM checks. We'll be going over every single wheel on this every single day. And if there's any kind of slack, bag or anything that we're not happy with, we'll change it that morning. And then to make sure that we're safe, we'll also get a secondary from another engineer who's not on the ride at the time to come and then do a secondary on it to make sure that the original engineer's done everything right, everything's torqued up, everything's safe for the day, basically. Just independent verification. We try to do that everywhere we go on the park.
What do you do with like the old ones that are like broken or no good anymore?
So they have to go back to Eurometal somewhere they dispose of. Oh, just like say this legislation, because all of you be going home with one. I know you will. You're all very excited about these wheels, but we're not allowed. We're not allowed on the free.
I just wondered, like, is there
probably melting down and use it again? Yeah. You've also got other sensors like the 2 little ones just there. Those ones are responsible for train speed. So those 2 sensors alone are able to identify how fast the train's going, where the train positioning is, back all that information back into the HMI display screen. So it's constantly monitoring this information to make sure that we're clear to dispatch the next train. Typically, where the train is roughly now is your ideal point to send the train in front. That way it's got a clear run straight into the station.
and then the train which is in front won't get slowed down on the left tail, so it'll just be a pretty constant glide straight in, straight out to kind of, if we're talking down the route of efficiency, that helps to kind of keep things ticking over. But yeah, it's a really, truthfully, the system itself is extremely simple, but that's what makes it so good. It's nothing that overcomplicates itself. But you'll notice that the brakes that are here, these are what we call brass brake plates. So on the stem of the train, which I'm not sure if maybe Stu got a chance to show you, but where the bumpers are and sits above it, you'll see 4 little bolts there. What sits in there is known as a pilot shaft. That's a really important part of any roller coaster, effectively. Helps weight distribution for the front of the train and keeps everything in line with each other. It's like a massive bearing, if you like. So yeah, so on the right and left hand side of the stem of the train, you've got additional brake plates there. Now when these come through, these are compressed by your air. So we have a massive compressor which lives behind this garage here, and this will be constantly monitoring the speed of the train with the HMI which goes in through the ops panel to make sure that the speed's maintained by slowly, obviously braking it with the pads which are here to also slowing down your feeder wheels as well. So collectively that system is responsible for a train passing through at the right speed at the right time to make sure that it doesn't throw up a right error and that keeps you guys kind of moving on in, basically. Yeah? So it really is the simplicity of your brake, guys. If you've got any questions, let me know. I mean to speak about it.
Well, there you go. I'm hoping a lot of that came out. There was a lot of noise, so I'm not sure how good the audio is. But that has been a spectacular event. Everybody I've spoken to said the same thing. Genuinely feels like a VIP event. The staff sharing stories, asking them questions, getting to see all the behind the scenes. You know, can't get into the ride-up cab, but you could see it and you're chatting to the operator, walking to the bottom of the lift hill, into the maintenance garage, you know, talking about the big giant inflatable eye. Just everything. I mean, for a theme park enthusiast and anybody that loves that ride, and I've said it about 15 times in this video and I'm going to say it again, it's an absolute must. It does sound like it's intentionally not going to happen again. I get that because they're having to bring out John Wardley and John Burton, and also to make it a bit more VIP. So if you haven't done it, you might never get to do it. Also, loads of people have come up to me, said hi, said they watched the videos. Even had people asking for photos, which is very surreal. So to everybody that has supported me on my journey so far, genuinely appreciate every single one of you. And if you haven't already clicked that little subscribe button, if you've enjoyed this, please do click that subscribe button. There's so much more content coming up. If I'm not completely exhausted after today, I will be in Blackpool tomorrow, doing a rather unique challenge. And then I'm in Flamingo Land next week. So tons and tons and tons of content coming up. So make sure you hit like, share this with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.